I was thinking about this the other day. Like, this could be actually like the end of the current big three era. You know, the big three in hip hop right now. We call the big three Drake, Kendrick Lamar, and J. Cole. It seems as though we're coming to the end of that of their run. You know what I mean? Three legendary artists who've done it all. They don't have anything else really to check off the list of accomplishments for being a rapper. Um, Literally, if they've done it all, they have the hit records, they have classic albums or projects, um, number ones, the sales, the tours. Like, literally, they've done it all. They have, you know what I mean? Like, but we could kind of tell, you know, it's coming to that. It's coming to the end, and you know, it's crazy. Like they Drake, Kendrick, and J. Cole, they all came in kind of around the same time, um, kind of the same way. You know what I mean? Like that old school way of being like found, like giving out mixtapes and being found. Someone heard something, then they brought it to the barbershop. Then they told this guy, and this person told this woman, and this woman told this guy. This guy told this guy, and this guy told this guy, and then now Lil Wayne's manager heard it. Now, like that old school way, you know what I mean? Like word of mouth way of finding an artist, and like artist development, like allowing artists to have the time to get better and improve. And you know, they all had classic mixtapes that's what kind of put the spotlight on them back in that old blog era, the golden era of the blog era. You know, Drake had So Far Gone. You know, he already had a little bit of a buzz before that, and of course he was on Degrassi and stuff like that. But so after So Far Gone, it was over. Like that megastar. So Far Gone, You the Best, or sorry, not You the Best. Best I Ever Had. It was like, it's over. Massive star after that. For J. Cole, it was the warm up, put him on the map. Signed to Jay-Z, signed to Rock Nation. You know, Kendrick Lamar, overly dedicated, gets noticed by Dr. Dre. You know what I mean? Drake, you know what I mean? Gets noticed by Lil Wayne's people, and he gets signed to Lil Wayne. Like, they all three of them kind of came up more of an old school way, where it's like the mixtape grind, getting heard by a bigger artist, getting signed by the artist, and got put on that way. You know, going out and doing shows and locally and all that type of shit. None of that like we just put a song on YouTube or TikTok and then it blows up. It wasn't like that for those guys. They actually had to grind it out, which, you know, that might be another topic for another day, but I wonder if that's why. It probably is one of the reasons why those guys are so good and so gifted and so skilled with the pen, is because it was such a gradual way of working. You know, regardless of if you like these three or not, like this is the general consensus in hip hop, is that Drake, Kendrick, and J. Cole were the best in the last decade. As far as active rappers, I'm not talking about like Jay-Z and Kanye and shit, and Lil Wayne and shit like that. That's the three before. That's before this. I'm talking about from like 2010, 2011-ish up until now. Like active rappers under 40 that are like dominant. You know what I mean? Like, you have to remember, in the earlier 2010s, those guys were so active. Like features, freestyles, like albums, projects. They were so consistent. They were all over the place. They were in your face all the time. It's weird now because now they're like the legends who kind of just chill back. Aside from Drake, Drake is super active. Out of the three, Drake is the most active for sure. I mean, it'd probably be Drake, and then J. Cole goes through these runs where he goes crazy on features and stuff like that. Kendrick is probably the most quiet nowadays, but at that time he might have been the most active. Those times, him and Drake. But yeah, the three of them were super active. That's why it's weird now to see where things are going. So obviously recently, Drake said in an interview with Lil Yachty that he has started to basically think about like what a graceful retirement would be like. You know what I mean? And Drake's a very tactical person. Like he's not. I don't think he would just be saying that for shits and giggles. Like I feel like he's saying that kind of to maybe get us open to the idea of it. I could be wrong. Maybe he was just talking shit. It was just spur of the moment thing, talking a little yachty. But it doesn't seem. I don't think he would just say something like that, and then knowing that clip's gonna go viral all over social media. So clearly, it's. I'm not saying he's not saying that's what's gonna happen like ASAP, but he's saying that's something that's been on his mind. J. Cole, I think it was a couple years back, put out a list on social media. Basically, it was like his blueprint or his plan of what he wants to put out next, which had feature. This was like a list of things he had written on like a notebook or something. He had feature on there. So going on a feature run, which he went on a legendary feature run, rapping on everybody's shit, going off. Revenge of the Dreamers 3, that's already been put out with his label mates from Dreamville, his label. The Off Season, that was on the list. That's already come out. Then he had It's a Boy, which has been rumored to be an album that's coming out. I thought maybe that was him having a child on the way. I have no idea, but apparently that's an album or a project that's supposed to be coming out. And also The Fall Off, and that's the end of the list. Those last two are the end of the list. There's nothing else after that. So that tells me that he's near his end as well. Maybe, you know what I mean? Like, and again, this doesn't mean they're gonna stop rapping forever. Like, no, obviously, but I could see them maybe going down the route of like how Hove is. Hove is like a businessman overseeing all these, his own label, all these things, all these ventures, and then every now and then he throws out verses or an album, surprise album here and there. You know what I mean? But I don't look at Jay-Z as like an active rapper. He's not playing the game like that. He's way past that, way above that. And then there's Kendrick Lamar, who his last album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, was actually his last album on TDE, Top Dog Entertainment. That was his last contractual album with them, and now he has his own label, PG Lang. So and Kendrick's like, since his album came out, he's hella quiet. Like, where you don't see Kendrick doing shit really, like here and there, barely. You saw him at the Grammys, but he's becoming more of like a mysterious artist. So it's clear that we're getting to that point. You know what I mean? Like, I think Kendrick, this is just me speculating. I think that, all these guys are fathers now. They have families and other things to focus on, but I get the feeling that Kendrick's gonna switch gears and focus more on continuing to develop and work with his cousin Baby Keem, and working on his label and growing that label into something special, getting new artists. I see him focusing more on that. I see J. Cole doing the same. Dreamville is popping. Like, they have a gang of artists over there that are doing really well. Drake has his own label as well. Drake has a lot of business ventures too. Drake has so much money, he doesn't have to ever rap again. But I guess out of the three, he's just been so consistent. Like, he doesn't really take a break. I swear he just put out a feature on a Popcorn record the other day. He just put out a new video today, like with the 21 Savage. So it's like Drake is still so active. So he might be the last one to kind of slow down, but I feel like Kendrick's the first that's kind of already getting the ball rolling on slowing down. And then I think J. Cole might be next, because we're already almost at the end of his list. So where do we go from there after that? I mean, it's weird to even think of like the rap game without these three. Like, when there was a hiatus, from Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole specifically, whenever they go on a hiatus between albums, you could feel it. There's something missing in the rap game. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to envision rap music without them, without those three, Drake included. Like, I've been having these same thoughts with like the NBA and LeBron James. You know, LeBron's my favorite player. But it's also like, aside from him being my favorite player, like, for what he means to the game, you know, even if you're not a LeBron fan, you know that he brings excitement to the game. You know what I mean? He's basically like the face of the league. You know what I mean? It's like, who do you see as that next person after LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry are gone? Who is it? Like, of course, there's a lot of talent. There's a lot of young guys that are talented, but it's like, who has that personality? Who has that flair? You know, and it's a little sad. It is sad. I can't lie. Like, those are three of my favorite artists of all time. Thinking of not getting those big Drake smashes, you know, like, I can't even envision that. Thinking of not getting those crazy J. Cole albums, crazy J. Cole features, thinking of not getting these elaborate fucking musical albums that Kendrick Lamar makes, that are like damn near movies. The storytelling from J. Cole is like, I can't really imagine the game without them. You know, and it's not even only just like, I don't think it's just the end of those three artists being super active as well in the upcoming years. I think it's also like the end of an era of that kind of rap superstar. Like, they're the kind of tail end of what the 90s started, you know, having a high level of rap ability, being a lyrical rapper first and foremost. Like, all three of those guys clearly are students of the game. They all are super hip hop nerds. They all like had a backpack on at one point. You know what I mean? Even Drake. You know, Drake has tracks, like a track with Lil Brother and shit like that. Like, and on his earlier mixtapes, like, those guys are hip hop heads. So having a lyrical ability, but also having the ability to make hits on a mainstream level, and have that mainstream appeal, commercial appeal, and success. That mixed with having the rapping ability and also the ability to make really dope music, it's like that trifecta is like, I don't see it a lot in today's music. You know what I mean? It's like, being lyrical is not really important, you know, especially for these younger kids. They're not really, most of them. I'm talking about on a mainstream level. It's not something I'm seeing as like a priority, especially with like trap and drill being so dominant today. You know, it's lyrical to a certain degree, but not in like that like classic like storytelling, metaphors, like that type of rapping ability, right? Which Drake, Kendrick, and J. Cole all have. You know, like, don't get twisted. Drake can make pop smashes, singing joints, and all that shit, but at the end of the day, every album, every project, he's gonna put on like a 30 for 30 or whatever, one of those timestamp records. Like, he's always gonna have the record where he's just bars on bars on bars. Drake is still that guy. So yeah, like, it's like, are we ever gonna see again, like, mixtapes are basically dead, so it's like, are we ever gonna see that grind of like the upcoming rapper story? You know what I mean? Now it's almost like instant success. We don't really have that like build up. Like, I remember going on Two Dope Boys, finding Kendrick Lamar's Overly Dedicated, and listening to that every day, showing people Kendrick Lamar's mixtape, and they're like, what the fuck is this? Why does he sound so weird? He sounds like an alien. Nah. And I'm like, no, this is the next guy. Nah, bro, nah. Girls are like, ew, I don't want to listen to this. And now look at Kendrick Lamar, like, he's a megastar, right? Same thing with J. Cole. I had the same kind of thing with him, like finding the warm up and the come up. Drake was Drake, like, everyone loved him from the get go. But you found these artists at an early age, at an early time in their career, and you like rooted for them. You were like, nah, these guys are gonna make it. They're next. And it's like, you knew that they were gonna be stars. You were just waiting for them to get to that point, and they did it. And I think they kind of surpassed not only our expectations, but I'm sure they'd probably say they surpassed their own expectations, you know. And there will definitely be a huge void in rap when those guys are gone. Because like Kanye's not coming to save us with music anymore. Jay-Z's not coming to save us with music anymore. You know, Lil Wayne got the next Carter coming up, but he's not going to be super active. So it's like who do we have that's going to continue to give us classic bodies of work? Like, really think about that. Like, I'm talking about on a mainstream level. Obviously, we have a whole plethora of amazing underground artists, but I'm talking about on a mainstream level, these big spectacle, huge budget music videos, crazy concerts. Like, who is going to be that next artist? And I guess that's the real question here, is like, who's the next big three? Like, who do you guys think is the next big three? I mean, it's easy to throw together a list of who is the next big three that sells a lot of records and has hits. Like, that's easy. But who is the next big three that is going to not only have cultural impact, sell a lot of records, but also make great music? You know what I mean? Push the genre forward. Who is that going to be? I have an idea of who I think those next three might be, but I will say it's not as clear as when I first heard Kendrick Lamar, and when I first heard J. Cole, and when I first heard Drake. When I first heard them, I would have put all the money in my bank and on the table and said, those guys are going to be superstars, like, no matter what. I don't know if it's as clear cut today with these three artists, but I do have some artists in mind that I think could be the next ones to continue to push the genre forward and do great things. So I'll put together a video for that as well, and put that out soon, and share with y'all my thoughts on who I think the next big three could be. But yeah, let me know in the comments who you think, who your big three is, who your next big three is, and let me know what you think about this video.